that's too low. Okay, everybody, hello. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I am so excited. Like, I get really excited about things, but I'm very, very excited about this. This is going to be truly wonderful. So today we have Loni pitching, and I'm also going to pitch first to break the ice and give a little example. And then how we're going to do this is every single week we are going to have one or two pitchers. Most of the we have two people set up, so that's very exciting. And how I want this to work is I'm going to introduce whoever's pitching. You're going to show up. You're going to do your absolute best pitch to us. It's okay if you fumble. This is for practice. And then, don't worry, Loni, I'm going to break the ice for you. It'll be great. You can go first if you want. You let me know. So what we're going to do is we are going to have the two pitches and we're going to get feedback. So one pitch, a little bit of feedback. Next pitch, a little bit of feedback. We want to keep this within our hour. So every pitcher gets between 10 and 15 minutes, and then we'll do some feedback. Now, take a little, so make sure that you take your notes, have your notebook, whatever. What I want from you is positive feedback. So we want what you loved the most, like what was your biggest takeaway from what they taught you? What was something that you're like, oh my God, I've never thought of it that way. Something that was like, hey, that flipped a switch for me. And not just like, I thought you were great. Like, what made you feel this way? Because you giving feedback will also help when you do your pitch. The second thing is something you would have changed or something you want more clarity on. So whether you're like, hey, I loved that, but then when you pitched your actual sale, I felt like I needed more information on blank. Or when you were teaching, I loved this, but I would have loved to hear more about this part. And then the third thing is a clarifying question that you think potential clients would have. You might be one of those potential clients, but something along the lines of, okay, so if I join this, what about this? The feedback is on the pitch and the presentation, whichever, both. Yes, and. So we want some feedback as to like, how are they were teaching? Because what we want from this is each person who pitches to be able to have this information so that next time they show up and they teach or go on a podcast or do a live or be on a stage, they have some feedback. Because how often do we do these things? And then you're like, well, I hope I did good. That's why we're here. Okay. Thank you, Cheryl, for concisely putting that into the chat. I appreciate you. Okay. So Loni, do you want me to go first or do you want to go first? I was planning to go first, but if you want to switch, I am totally okay with that. Yes. The last one is the clarifying question. So what we want to do is give feedback that's going to be useful so that people can grow from this and take it and go for the next time. Obviously, we're going to be kind to one another. If you're mean, I'm kicking you out. So let's all be kind to one another, obviously. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to also put in the links that of the sales thing that the person will be chatting about. So then you can also go and look at that. And I will be putting those in the recording too. So if you're watching the recording, down below in the comments area, that's where the link to whatever they're going to be pitching is. And also after you pitch, you are 100% welcome. And I suggest to you that you do this, take this video, take a little part of it, screen record it, and put it on your social media. Use this. This is content. Everything is content. Okay? All right. Well, I haven't heard Loni say that absolutely she wants to go first, so I'm going to start. Okay. Is everybody good? We're good? Let's get some thumbs up. Everyone's happy. Everyone's ready. Yeah? Okay. I'm just going to cruise on and we're going to get started. I'm very excited. If anybody else joins late, I will just pop them in while I'm talking. Okay. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited. My name is Stephanie Rose, and I'm going to start our pitching today. I'm so excited. So I want to start off by telling you that I think the absolute biggest area for growth in our entire entrepreneurial landscape is a personal brand. And I say this not because I help people do personal brands, but because I know that the landscape of how people are hiring, the landscape of how people are changing, and the landscape of how people are actually interacting with businesses has been changing. And it has been shifting from a brand identity based on a product, based on a service, to who are the people behind this brand. We see this when there are large companies like Netflix, like Disney. They're choosing new CEOs based on that person, and they're using that person as leverage to bolster the reputation of the company. We are also seeing this in the entrepreneurial space, where the influencers that are online are becoming the people who are directing where things go and who is going to be purchasing. And we see that because they have built a personal brand, and then brands are using their influence to continue. Now, when you're building your own business, I do believe that having a personal brand alongside your business is the most important thing you can build while you are going on an entrepreneurial journey. When I say this, I mean that the you behind the brand is the most important thing. This gives you freedom in a way that we've never seen before in the entrepreneurial landscape. We have never seen a time in life before where people could shift, pivot, change themselves, change their location, change what they're offering with such ease, because the focus of their branding is not on the product, it's on them. It's on the person behind the brand. We see this obviously rising with partnerships and with influencers, where they're taking the thing that they have built, their personal brand and who they are, and they are using it as leverage, not just to make money, but to gain power and to gain influence. We've seen this in the rise of politicians using things like Instagram, TikTok, and podcasts. I read a very, very striking post the other day about how the amount of hours that somebody sees you directly relates to how much they feel like they're going to trust you, even if they don't agree with the things you're saying. So let me break that down for you. What I mean by that is, even if they don't agree with everything you're saying, the more somebody can see you, hear you, and understand what you stand for, they're going to trust you deeper, even if the exact thing you say isn't in alignment with what they think is right. We have seen this inside of the latest politicians, the latest races. We have seen this absolutely grow because people are choosing somebody that they have seen over and over and over again, even if that person acts poorly. And so we've seen a gigantic shift. There used to be a very strong focus on a political person's ideologies, what they stand for, and their moral conduct. Now it's all about FaceTime. It's about how much have you seen them? How much has their voice gotten in your head? And it's started to shift people's decisions on what they stand for because they've chosen this person. We see this all the time in social media, obviously, because influencers are a huge, huge market right now. We have seen the complete death of paper, newsletters, newspapers, anything in the way that traditional marketing used to go. If you take advice from somebody who took marketing 20 years ago, it's going to be vastly irrelevant because of how people are consuming now. The amount of time that an influencer or a personal brand spends in front of the camera and in front of the audience will absolutely directly correlate to how many sales they have and how specifically they're going to be able to influence the people, and not just in sales, in their actual influence. So when I help brands and they come to me and they say, okay, we've built this strong reputation, we have this great product, what do you think we need? What is the one thing we're missing? And I always say a personal brand and a personal face to this business. I have businesses who come to me, they have 30 employees, they make over $3 million every single year. And they're saying to me, what is the one thing that's going to get us over this edge? And it's me telling them, we need a face to your brand. We need something people can connect to. And then we need to make sure that face and that voice is speaking to them consistently. When people come to me and they already have a personal brand, and it's just them, and they ask me, what is the one thing that's going to tip me over the edge this year? And I say, it is hours in front of the camera, and it is how often people hear you and what you say connected to your face and your brand. There used to be a huge trend where people would do carousel posts, they would do blogs, they would do newsletters, and that was the one thing that gained a lot of attention because there were words, there was a lot of, it was a new option. There was plenty of people still just Googling things and using SEO. So that was a very big tactic back then. Now it's all about connecting the face to the brand, to the voice. And the more that you can be on podcasts, on videos, on YouTube, using long form content to be able to get your face connected to your brand, to the people, the more success you're going to have. This is the biggest hole in the marketplace that I find now, especially because we're seeing a huge trend of people switching from Googling something to just putting it in ChatGPT. If they are Googling something, they're seeing loads of options, SEO, all the people who've been writing blogs for years and years are now looking at the ChatGPT going, what are we going to do now? Because ChatGPT is taking all of the information that the people of the world have put onto the internet, summarizing it and sending it to the person without a name attached, without a face attached, without any personalization attached. It's coming from chat and they're getting the same information, but they're not connecting it to a person. It used to be if you needed information, you had to find someone's blog and they told you how they did it and how it affected their life, right? You know, we all know we go to a blog and you're looking for a recipe and they start off with a, back in the day, and I was cooking with my grandma, and there's all that background, which some people find annoying, but that is how we used to connect with people, through the words. Now we have to connect with people through video and through long form content. And the beautiful thing about long form content is that it has such a long shelf life. We are seeing a trend from the shortest of attention spans to people wanting more. They want to hear you speak for longer, and they want to know what kind of ideologies, what kind of things you care about. They want to know more things about you, and they want to be able to do it whilst doing other things. So if you have a personal brand and you are like, I already know my brand, I'm already set on my brand, what should I do? Long form content would be the thing that I would tell you absolutely should be your focus for the next year. Now, with the long form content, obviously I would truly suggest that you break it up, make it into shorter pieces, make sure that it's going out to the people to draw them in, because you can make as many YouTube videos as you want. But if nobody's coming to your page, then we got a problem, right? But what we want to do is make sure that the parts of us that are connected to the brand and the parts of us that are connected to the things we are selling and the things we are offering and the influence we wish to have are being put up into this. Now, a lot of people come to me and they're like, love it, long form content. I'm going to start a podcast and I'm going to get any single guest I can get, and we're just going to yap about anything. And I'm like, great. How is this going to actually pertain to your ideal client? And how are you going to make sure that you are showing them the parts of your brand that need to be there and not just dumping your personality upon them? I do this with clients in a program called a Powerful Personal Brand. What we do is we take you through the entire 8 weeks of steps that gets you from, okay, I know kind of what I'm doing, but I really need to focus this, to the clarity of your messaging, to what parts are we going to sell, to what kind of content are we going to use, and how are we going to direct that content in a really, really like lightning laser focused way. And then all the way to launching that and making sure that it's concisely available for people so that they can have something and they can run with it. The reason that I suggest having a lot of clarity on your brand before you go on this big, lovely adventure of making long form content is that you can say as many words as you want, but if you don't know where they're going and who you're directing them at, you will be speaking into space. So we don't want, because we are personal brands, because we are people and we don't have the infinite resources of things like ChatGPT, we need to be able to use our energy, our excitement, our time very wisely, and absolutely have no question of what things do I have to say to get a specific result. And that is the thing that I bring the most into the programs that I do with my Powerful Personal Brand, is that very clarifying question of what do I have to say to get my specific results? And obviously we have to work closely together because I need to know what your result is. I can give you as much advice as I want here. You can go and run with that. But if we don't know what is the result you are going for, then we have a problem. And quite often when people are looking for their result, they are looking for the wrong thing. They come to me and they say, I want to make more money. And I'm like, okay, why? And they're like, well, because I want to pay my bills. I'm like, okay, why? We dig more into what is the actual thing you want to do with your life. Quite often people ask the question, what would you do if money was no object and you had all the time in the world? And I'm like, cute. That's a lovely sentiment. But I want to know is what would you do if your back was against the wall? What would you do if you had no other options? What would you do if this is the only life's work you could ever do? That's what I want to know. And then we take the power of that question and turn that into the thing that we're going to lead people towards. Because people can dream big, people can have fanciful, beautiful visions of how an imagined world could be, but you can't separate them from reality. And the thing that really draws people in is when you can say, hi, I know who I am, I know who you are, and I understand the reality of the world we live in. And also, look, I have a better way. It's rooted in reality, it's rooted in something tangible, and we're taking what you offer, even if it feels intangible. If you have a healing service, a coaching service, something that isn't a physical product, if we can take that, put it into a tangible result, that's how we're going to get people to trust you and to work with you, is by taking the intangible, making it tangible, and making sure that all of the content you're making is truly, truly directing to the outcome. So we're always going to be focused on what is the outcome, and the outcome has to be bigger than I just want to pay my bills. And that is why I work with people in the Powerful Personal Brand. That is why I have created this system that I'm going to take you through. And every single week we focus on something different. There's high accountability. And the very best thing is we do it all in a group. So you get to bounce off ideas, you get to learn from others, and you get to have my eyes on your business. And that is the thing that I see the biggest change in. How are we going to be so specific with what you're after? And how are you going to get there? Is because you're going to be guided through it. Yes, there's a system, but no two people are the same. This is why when people sell, if you use this exact blueprint that I do, you'll get the exact result. And every single time I call BS because there's no actual way. If the result you're after is change in the world, if the result you're after is a movement, something bigger than just selling a product, if the result you're after is actually changing the world of the people around you and yourself and your family, then it can't be a cookie cutter program. It has to be a system that takes you through the steps, but it has to be personalized to you. And that's why I speak to my clients this way. And that's why I've created this program, because my purpose and my life's work is bigger than just helping people make money. I want you to be on your deathbed in your old age, drinking your tea with your person, thinking, I can't believe I made all of that change in the world. That's my goal. That's the thing that keeps me going through every single thing that I offer, no matter how my life changes and no matter how much my business changes. And the thing about a personal brand is that no matter what changes I do, I'm going to be able to carry it with me. As we know, and many of you know me, but my life has gone through humongous changes. There has been huge catastrophic changes, tear downs of systems, building of new, and my personal brand has weathered it all. And because I've used it for a long time, because I've built it upon something stronger than just this is the product that I offer, it gives me context. It gives me humanity. It gives me the things that the Chat GPT will never, ever give people. Is it life experience? And I've walked it with you. You can go back through my social channels growth and you can say, oh my God, this really does work, because look at her then and look at her now. And that's how I do it. So if you would like to join the Powerful Personal Brand, we are now onboarding for the 2025 cohort. And it's going to be a very, very powerful, powerful, powerful program. It's 8 weeks. We go through one topic every single week. There is high accountability. I don't let you fall behind. And I do have payment plans available for anybody who needs them. If you are ready to actually take your concept of a business and turn it into an actual movement that you can carry with you, then I suggest you join. We're starting in 2 weeks, and I can't wait to see you there. And Etsy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. Does anybody want to come up and give feedback, or shall I start with the question that I see into the group? I'm going to do that one first. Loni asked, when you say long form content, how long? Anything that is over 5 minutes. 5 minutes to 2 hours is what I would say. That's how long podcasts and videos have been recently. I think no more than an hour, but there has been data proving that longer is better. Okay. Does anybody want to be brave and come up and unmute themselves and give? Yes, go Cheryl. Let's go.
Okay. Sorry that I sound a little bit like a blog troll, but that's where I'm at. Okay. So first of all, good job. Way to go. Good job doing the things. I appreciated how you talked about tensiony stuff without actually getting derailed. So you kept it current without being weird. So the good job. That's not easy to do, but we all know exactly who you're talking about. So my biggest takeaway is that this is why video works. You finally explained to me why video works, and it makes it like less high stakes about what I actually put out in a video, and it explains why just showing up matters. So that was really helpful for me, because I'm like, yeah, I know showing up matters, but look at me showing up and look at me getting no sales. Yeah, okay, but I'm not putting out as much video. So that is like, okay, good job. What I would have loved is one quick win action that I could take right now and go do, aside from buying your program. Because I think the people who are like, well, I'm not sure it's that easy. I know, I've worked with you. I know that it is. So, but like if you were pitching to somebody who hardly ever heard of you, be like, just go do this right now. Like when we were at conference in October and Haley was like, okay, open up your Instagram and then go live and then share something, like that proofs in the pudding right there immediately. And then the one clarifying question, where did they put it? The only thing I'm curious about is like, I'm on Threads all the time right now, and there are some people who weren't doing well on video-based apps who are doing excellent on Threads and making lots of sales. So I was curious to know your take on that specific text-based app, although it's still in the political algorithm. So take what you want from that. Otherwise, good job.
I would say as far as Threads is, if it's a text-based app, then your long form content is text.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say same thing, but text instead of video.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Gonna turn my thing off now. Bye.
Perfect. Okay. I see one in the chat that says, what are some examples of long form content? So the examples would be YouTube videos, podcasts, longer than 2-minute reels or TikToks. Anything that is longer than like 90 seconds would be considered long form content. And what I would pitching in the pitch and what I suggest in general is that you make sure that if you are doing a podcast, then you have a video option as well. But what we want to do, the reason that we want to link this is because we're linking your face to your voice to your brand. And it's just more cues for people, right? Like if somebody reads something, they think it's great, but they don't connect your face to it. If somebody listens to you, they hear your voice and your words, even more connection. And if they watch a video, they hear you, they see you, and they connect what you're saying to you. So it's just more points of contact, not content. Good. Does anybody else want to jump up, or are we going to switch over to Loni? No, I don't see any hands. Okay. All right, Loni, are you ready? Do you want me to introduce you? Oh, you're typing yours in. Please pause 1 moment, Melissa. And if you are watching the recording, please come into the Pitch It section of the group and leave your feedback, okay? Okay, biggest takeaway, the importance of long form content. Of course, I love everything branding, so I enjoyed everything you talked about. What I would change is sometimes you talked faster and I have a hard time to absorb what you're saying. Fair enough. That is definitely one of my things I need to work on. Okay. Okay, Loni, are you ready? I am excited to see you jump in. Okay, I'm going to introduce you. Are you good with that?
Yeah, you do whatever you want.
Okay.
I just want to be clear that I'm not doing what you're doing because I misunderstood the assignment apparently a little bit, but I'm gonna roll with it.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
If you want to chat about it after, we can.
Yeah, all good.
Okay, everybody, welcome Loni. I want to see lots of clapping and cheering, and take it away.
Okay. Hi guys. So as Stephanie said, my name is Loni, and my mission is really simple. I want to help people reconnect to their bodies, their power, their bellies, and their truth. I'm a Pilates energetics and neurosomatic coach, and I've been doing this for a really long time, like 18 years in some capacity, guiding people to create this like unshakable relationship with themselves. And that is my biggest goal, is to help people not lean so deeply on that external validation and really on that inner knowing and self-trust. And why I'm so passionate about this is because this worked for me. I've just seen it over the years. I'm a nutritionist by trade, and I've seen it over the years of what happens when people disconnect from their bodies. I've seen powerful, ambitious people shrink themselves, doubt themselves, get stuck on the cycle of not enoughs or what ifs, and there's so much shame and there's so much shoulds and there's so much societal conditioning. And I want to break that. I want to break that cycle for people. So I have been there. This is not just, they say you teach what you have to learn. So this is also personal for me. I spent years feeling like I needed to change or fix or shrink myself before I really understood my worth and how deeply it is connected to my body. So when I realized, and I'm 48, it wasn't so long ago. I just want to say that. This is why I'm so passionate about this, because I don't want you to waste, I don't want to say waste. I don't want you to spend as long as I did disconnected from your own power, disconnected from your own knowing, your own wisdom, your own truth, right? So when I realized my body wasn't something I needed to control, it wasn't something I needed to fix, it was just something I needed to start listening to, everything changed. And I know that's so cheesy to say, but like truly everything changed, right? Like that ability to tap in, tune in, and turn on my own power allowed me to learn that the wisdom was already inside me. It allowed me to feel safe in my body, to find that ability to connect to my confidence, my leadership, my trust, all of that, right? And so that is what I do now and why I want to share this with you guys. Our bodies are communicating with us all of the time. And we don't live in a world that teaches us that. We live in a world where it's, this is how you should be. This is what you're supposed to do. Messages, messages, messages from everywhere. And so my goal is that you get to learn how to listen, to tune out the external noise and to tune into and listen to your body. Because how you hold yourself, how you breathe, how you move, how you react, it changes. And most of us have been, literally, we are taught, we have been learned to disconnect from that. How many people do you know, maybe yourself included, that lives from the neck up? To ignore the gut feelings, to suppress the emotions, to not feel good enough, to compare ourselves, to judge, so on and so forth, right? So because I'm talking about felt sense and the power of the body, I'm going to invite you for a little exercise for a second here. So we're going to try something right now. Close your eyes if that feels safe for you. Maybe hand on heart, hand on belly, or maybe both hands on the belly. And just take a deep breath. And just drop into the awareness that is your belly. There's no right or wrong here. Breathe. I'm not going to cue your breath. Just big inhale and an even deeper exhale. And what's the first word that comes to mind when you check into this space? No judgment, just notice. Notice how it feels to be checking in with your belly. Take one more deep breath into that feeling, into that word. You can keep your eyes closed or you can open them. You can write in your journals, and just a moment to reflect on this. What came up for you? This is the proof here that your body is always speaking. The question really is are you listening? And then if you are listening, are you putting that into imperfect action? Right? Okay. Are we allowing what our body tells us to be part of our day, of who we are? Because your body isn't something you need to fix, you need to control, you need to push through. I'm not a big fan of the word willpower, but that's another talk. This is about listening. You know, we see all these things about communication externally with other, to make a relationship work, it's all about communication. Well, how are you communicating to yourself? How are you listening to yourself? And so the more you try to overpower this, to control this, to make it fit in a box, the more you get disconnected from the wisdom that's already within you. And I want you just to take a second on that and just like really let that sink in, because most of us have been conditioned to override our bodies. Ignore the gut instincts, push through the exhaustion, do more, be more, show up differently, right? We change ourselves because we think we're going to be accepted. Now, what if the body isn't the problem? What if the body doesn't need a fix? What if it's the key? And that's why I created core codes. So core codes is 5 elements that bring you back to home in your own body. They're the key that I have found in my 18 years of doing this work in some capacity, whether it was nutrition, Pilates, coaching, you name it. This is the disconnect. So the 5 codes that I'm going to be teaching in core codes is your energetics, your emotional, spiritual, nutritional, and your physical. So the energetic part, the power you hold and how you move through life. Your emotional self, the stories, the feelings, the shame, the blocks stored in the body, specifically the belly. And then the spiritual place, like the sort of like the bridge between whatever your higher self, higher power is to your belly, to your gut. So that inner knowing, that intuition, that deep self-trust. And then obviously we have nutritional, not getting too much into this, but like that gut-brain connection, right? We've all heard this before. What you feed your body, not just on your plate, but off your plate. All the things we digest in life, like how we chew through them, right? Like when you chew your food, 30 times chew till it's liquid. Well, how do you absorb and chew the information that you're scrolling through on social media, or you're watching in the news, or you're letting people talk to you around you? How does your body assimilate those nutrients? Because it is feeding us nutritionally. It is your nourishment. And then physically, of course, right? So we can't talk about the core. In Pilates, we call it your powerhouse. It's literally the place you house your power. We do not move any of our limbs without connecting to your physical core, right? And so if you think about that in your everyday life, you cannot move forward until you're so tapped in to who you are in your core. So it's the way you embody yourself, your presence, how you take up space, your posture. Are you standing tall? Like there's so many physical aspects, your stability, that are just so much more than like, ooh, I have a 6-pack. Because let's be real, that's not really the end goal for most of us, right? So take a moment again and just think about a time in your life, a moment in your life when your gut told you something before your mind did. And did you listen? And what happened? I'm going to give you a second here to reflect, to maybe write it down. Because that's the power of the body's wisdom. of tapping in and aligning these 5 core codes. And so in this masterclass that I'm teaching next week, I will be guiding you not just from the mindset, but from a felt sense of how those cores can help you access this daily. Not just in like the critical crisis moments, great to have those tools, but on an everyday basis of how you get to show up in relationship with your body. Because when these elements are in balance, when they're in alignment, you don't just feel good, you literally show up different in all parts of your life. In business, in the bedroom, in your kitchen, with your kids, like wherever you are going to be, when we can tune into these 5 elements, these core codes, and we find ways to balance them. Again, I'm going to teach you exactly how to do this in this masterclass. You stop second guessing yourself. The hamster wheel doesn't keep going. You start to trust yourself. You lead with this confidence that you never felt before. This clarity is so next level. Like, I know, like, I think Steph said this, like, no, I know who I am, and I know who you are, and I have a better way. Stealing one from your playbook there, babe. So, right? So you know who you are, and you know how to show up to your clients in your business. And you know the way in which you get to move when you're so tapped in to this space, right? You really start to embody who you are already. And that's what Core Codes unlocks. So you already have everything inside of you. You just need to learn how to access it. And that's what Core Codes is all about. I'm going to give you the tools to help you access your core codes so you can bring them to the surface so they don't just live deep inside the belly, but they are part of everything that you do, helping you really find that self-trust that I know that we also deeply desire. And it's just a new way of leading, a new way of showing up, a new way of leading into who you already are. So if you're ready to stop outsourcing your power and to start leading from within, Core Codes is next week on Thursday. I don't even remember what time, maybe 1:30 Eastern. I'll drop it in the link. But Core Codes, it's a masterclass. We're going to take 60, 75 minutes usually. Again, it is both practical application, so you will get some real somatic experiencing that you can take and walk away with. And you're going to get a deep understanding about how to stop outsourcing your power and find that wisdom from your belly. And it's only $22. So if you are interested, let me know and I'll send you the link.
Amazing job. That was exactly right. You completely understood this assignment. I loved it. That was wonderful. Okay. Do you want me to read you the comments?
Oh, yes, sure.
Reply them? Okay. Well, my feedback is I loved it, and you were so in it and so excited and so turned on. And like, I've worked with you before, and I've seen you struggle with like knowing what to say, and that was exactly right. And this is partly why I tell you, like, let's lead with teaching, because it gets you in the zone of like what you're really good at. And I thought you did an amazing job. Okay, I'm gonna read you your comments now. Okay. Biggest takeaway, our body is always talking to us and we need to listen more. Loved the exercise. I agree. I thought the exercise was perfect. And I've really felt you were talking to me by the way you looked at the camera. You sound very approachable and like you could be anyone's best friend, and no other feedback. Okay, that was from Melissa. Thank you, Melissa. From Cheryl, one, biggest takeaway, my body isn't something I need to fix. It's something I need to listen to. Number two, what I would change, ask me how many people do you know who live by their entire life from the neck up as an opener or as a hook, and share a story of what that means. An example, you ever get to 4 p.m. and realize you haven't eaten or drank water or moved your body, and now you're magically hungry and stiff. Love that. And number three, clarification, how can I listen to my body? Do you mean pain or those inner wiggles? And I also have to say from my own feedback too, is when you said, think about a time when you didn't listen to your gut, or when your gut told you something before your brain did. I thought that was very powerful because I instantly thought of something and I was like, ooh, I don't want to repeat that. So I thought that was like a really, really strong thing. Oh, Melissa says same. Okay, I want somebody else to jump up and give some feedback. I'm going to pick someone if you don't jump up and do it. Who wants to go?
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, Cheryl. So when you said, give an example of listening to the body, is it the tension? I don't know what you said, the nudges, the wiggles, what did you say?
Yeah, like pain or like inner wiggles. And this is like my autistic brain probably, but like listening is something you do with your ears. So if I'm listening to my body, that's not tangible. So just like an example of what you mean when you use something that's kind of open for interpretation.
Okay, that's interesting. I like that a lot. I actually love listening.
Like I know what you mean. I'm just
I know
thinking
you
of
do.
someone
Yeah,
who doesn't know what you do.
yeah,
But I can't
totally.
like, do I put my ear on my knee? Like
Right.
what? Anyway. So.
Yeah. I get that. Okay, so I think that's really great. And that's a big one about how to listen into the body. And at the same time, one of the things that I've learned, and I'm just gonna post this, is why I don't give a lot of information sometimes in the beginning and give stories is because it puts a story in someone's head and they don't tap into their belly. So when I start with a question that, like, if I say your belly's your power space and, you know, maybe it feels tight or maybe it feels tense or maybe it's bloated or maybe it's strong or maybe it's powerful, I've created feelings and stories for you already. Then you don't get your experience of whatever comes up in your subconscious mind. So I guess my question for everyone here is how to balance that, because I understand what you're saying. So some people are gonna be like, what the fuck is this girl talking about? Like, how do I listen to my body? Sorry, I cursed. How I listen to my body, but also at the same time, I don't want to put a story in your head. I want you to try to figure that out. So if anyone has any suggestions of how to do that, I would love that.
I think maybe a couple examples that don't actually have a feeling involved. So like I listen to my body, and for some people that comes up as a word that pops into their head. And some people, they can feel something in a certain part of their body. And for some people, they think about a time when their body felt a certain way. And like, instead of attaching an actual, like say, instead of like, my belly feels tight, you'd be like, where in your body do you feel it? Or if you aren't used to listening to your body, like just sit here and what's the loudest sensation in your body? Is it like feeling your butt on your chair or, you know, something like that? Then you can like, because some people will hear a word and some people like how different brains process, but then you're not like suggesting it.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, there's another one I'll read out to you. Okay, biggest takeaway. I love that your energy, and I know that I want to learn about tapping into the core. You are the person, you're the guide. Something to change. I would love to hear some of the specific examples of what changed for you when you said listening to yourself changed everything. I agree. I love that. And no other thoughts.
Okay.
And it was like, it's a short window, so you don't have a huge amount of time to go into everything. But I think leading with a personal example definitely will help people connect with you.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much. That was amazing. Good job. I'm going to put, if Loni, if you can send me your link afterwards, and I'll put it in the recording so that everybody who watches the recording can get the link, and then everybody who is live can come back and look. And I am, yes, good job on going first also. I love this. You did a great job and I can't wait to keep going. So make sure that once the recording is up, you go and check it out, and I'm going to pop it into our group chat as soon as it's done processing. It usually takes like less than an hour. So you should do that. And then also I will send to whoever's pitching the Zoom link for them to download it directly so you can use this as content. So in my pitch, when I talked about long form content, this is long form content. You could take the thing you had taught and put it on YouTube, or put it onto a 10-minute TikTok video, or you could put it, parts of it onto Instagram. You could take it and put it on Facebook. This is what I was talking about. So put it on your landing page for color codes. Absolutely. This would be huge. Like if somebody could go and do this exercise with you, that's perfect. Oh, there it is. Perfect. So I will grab that link and stick it into our group chat as well. Thank you everybody who's here live. Make sure that you can come as often as you can to the live, because I love hearing this feedback. The feedback not only helps the person getting the feedback, but it helps you to give it, because then you think about this when you do your own pitching and your own talking. Okay. Good job, everyone. I'm so proud of us, everyone. Excellent work. And like I said, the recording should be up soon. Good job, everybody. Bye.